Let's hope we don't get any no-shows today.
Yeah. Otherwise, we might have to open up 50 tabs and take it for a spin. Yeah. People trickling in on this fine Tuesday evening, which most people say Monday is the worst day of the week, or Tuesday. Tuesday is another common one, but I'm pretty sure Thursday is the worst day of the week.
Timber,
If
have you
it,
ever watched a cricket game?
no.
You sound like cricket commentators. They often start with it's a nice sunny day, like a very, I don't know, 5-day gentlemanly game.
I was thinking it was a little more Tour de France kind of vibes, giving us a little tour of the landscape as we're watching some people bicycle around.
That too. I think those are both kind of similar.
Either way, I feel like at 27 years old, I've got a unusual penchant for talking about the weather. It's,
Well, you're also a very outdoorsy guy, right? Don't you do a lot of hiking and stuff or running?
yeah, maybe I'm just in touch. That's another way to look at it.
They say that the weather is like the most common default of things to talk to when you don't have anything in common or something to talk to a person about, and it's sort of like the faux pas of things that you should bring up with somebody.
Yeah, it's it feels really cliche, but it's so reliable.
It is. And it's, I don't know, it's fascinating. I think it's one of the things that affects everybody. So it's a go-to for a reason.
It is pretty hard to insulate yourself from the weather.
Maybe we could start a new one, you guys. Instead of touch grass, it's like go out and look at the sky. What's the short, Timber? You're gonna have to come up with a short, the catchy version of that for us.
Go breathe air.
Cloud watch.
Get
Touching
out of the box, CloudWatch.
Some reasons decided to delete my profile picture. And speaking of touching clouds, I'm going back to helicopter. Don't have to show.
Oh, there it is.
There we go.
Yep. You sketched that one day, right?
No, I didn't sketch it. This is generated by the early version of Dolly.
Oh,
Somebody with access made it for me.
This is like day one Dolly.
early Dolly.
Not that quite that early, but fairly early. Yeah. And I think it basically took the standard emoji, at least in Apple devices, which is a little red helicopter, and mangled it a little bit. That's what it seems to have done. That's why it seems weird. All right. Do we know where Amber and Yisi are?
Still waiting on them.
Right.
I was joking with Josh that we might have to take over and do the autonomous realities presentation ourselves, but I think they'll show up. I don't have enough tabs open to match Amber.
Yisi is responding in the chat, so one of the team
Good.
is here. We just have to find the other team member. All right. Randy.
Could be the weather, you know. It might be the weather interfering with these plans.
Randy has an interesting comment in chat. I've heard folks theorizing small talk as a critical signal for demonstrating I'm not crazy, I'm not a threat, I understand social norms. It's the not crazy demonstration protocol.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something there. I feel like I'm trying to remember where I've heard it from. I feel like it's been brought up by like folks in like neurodiverse spaces who are less inclined to engage in small talk and just want to get straight to like weighty, whether it's philosophical or technical or whatever matters, they don't understand the point of small talk. It's usually like, wait a second, it's actually, conveying an important function.
This is one of the reasons I think I was initially very suspicious of the rationalist crowd in the Bay Area, because they were like super earnest and it was like, I don't like small talk. I immediately want to talk about the future of AI and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't trust you if you want to skip right there. But at some point, I think they figured out that normies like to do that. And they kind of like started emulating the protocol of like small chat. And at that point, I couldn't tell them apart.
They've got their camo on now. It's too late.
Right.
It is true though that
I feel like a lot of pressure to like speak up and say something banal, but I can't think of anything.
All right. Amber says he's ready, so we can go ahead and get started, I think.
Okay. I see him in the chat. And yeah, I've got my slide up here. So welcome everybody to the 5th of 6 salons of the Protocol Symposium. Tonight's talk is Autonomous Realities by Amber and Yisi, and I'll just let them get started. Stop sharing here.
Okay.
Go ahead, guys.
And share the screen. Maybe this one. Can you see my screen? Okay. Yes. Can you see my full screen?
Yep, full screen.
Okay. Perfect. Hi, this is Botao Amber Hu, and probably Yisi is here. But today I probably present myself. And the topic I research is merging autonomous reality, protocolizing the entangling moment in a ubiquitous mixed reality futures. So I'm Botao, and just call me Amber, and I'm currently teaching at the China Academy of Art, and I'm really interested in intersection with the speculative design, spatial computing, and the programmable cryptography. So, we can envisioning a future that where personalized mixed reality device ubiquitously dominate our life, much like a smartphone to today, where people living in highly customized mixed reality unwell, tailored for their own desire and need. This autonomous reality lead to a fragmentation of shared experience, creating a digital bubble with social isolations. And for this research, we focus on entangling moment where multiple autonomous reality collides, the moment where two or three mixed reality were encounter in the shared physical location, proposing a fundamental question: how can we merge our mixed reality? So here's today's outline, probably a lot. I will try my best, squeeze into 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So first part is about the background review, which first of all, we are exploring the mixed reality media itself. I think to understand mixed reality media, we find it to have a very similar property to the blockchain, which is a privacy preserving, permissionless, programmable. Apple released Vision Pro last year, and they announced like Vision Pro probably will bring us into a new era. It's called spatial computing era. But what's that reality in the future with this like a spatial computing devices? Is it a utopian or dystopian? Like Simpson precisely predicted this kind of future. Just exactly as the form factor as today, like Apple release, still have a cables. First we will see it's a privacy preserving reality. Can you see what I see? No, by default. This is the example of the famous internet influencer Casey Neistat, where the Vision Pro watching his own YouTube during inside a shop in New York City. Other people cannot see what he looking at. And next is a permissionless reality, which means mixed reality media. The nature of it, it's a permissionless. It's AR is a 21st century street art. There is a very famous manifesto released like 12 years ago. It's called AR Art Manifesto. In the Art Manifesto, there's a famous quote: "It's a bad painting challenging the definition of good painting. It shows up in the wrong places. It takes stages without permission." So this captures the permissionless, permissionless property of this media. So first, you can embody in the reality or you conceived. So in the very famous movie from Zizek, there's this.
They allow you to see the real message beneath
where the
all
AR
the
glasses,
propaganda,
you can see the
publicity,
meaning
glitz,
behind
posters, and so on.
the advertisement. That's the idea. And and also there's a example from like a Blade Runner, where our hero hire a hooker to overlay his girlfriend, like photographic girlfriend, over the hooker and have sex with. So this is kind of permissionless perception. And next is a permissionless location. There's a very famous example is called MoMA, which is unauthorized gallery, which overlay on the real MoMA museum that will overlay this kind of glitching art over the very famous Jack Pollock's artwork, claiming it's kind of a new gallery. And with mixed reality media, we also can reprogram in the reality. It's kind of a software-defined protocol drive group dynamics. So on the left is a very famous Kaaba, which is the holiest Muslim site. So the protocol that all the Muslims need to go to this place for worship. It's this protocol is lasts for 1,000 years. But on the right is a Pokemon Go festival. We can during the festival, the designer, a game designer can drop some rare Pokemon on the actual part of the city. So people just basically catch that rare Pokemon. So you get the idea. Yeah, so the reality can be using the software-defined protocol to be form people's their group behavior very easily, rather than 1,000 years to form a protocol. So this kind of permissionless reality went towards to a mind blindness, which is kind of a technology mediation problem, which is a highly personalized mixed reality may lead to distinguished a shared reality. As a result, understanding others' thought and emotion becoming challenged. It could be potentially lead to mind blindness. So we've already been in this kind of situation for long. As a social media get popular, we are trapped in the information cocoon, artists a future. So I think mixed reality will be accelerate this situation even more. So the future probably is not just single version, it's probably all entangled. So some artist envision the future probably have maybe two different kind of dimension. One is a max with this mixed reality media, the future could be very occupied reality. Or the future probably will minimalist, like this movie by the same author, Agent.
Let's see if we can get this right this time.
In the future, everyone will
Run
have
Rapunzel.
a digital agent continuously. Still using the same picture of me.
Don't you right.
Which version of future will be? Probably both. So because of the permissionless property of mixed reality media, so I think the future will be have multiple mixed reality coexist layer by layer and intertwine. Maybe layer 1 is Pokemon Go, layer 2 is Meta's reality, and the Apple's reality. We can define our reality just by simply switch apps. So in such complex multi-reality world, how can we merge our mixed reality? That become our research question. And then we're trying to looking at the current metaverse standard to understand what's the current situation for metaverse intercorporeal realities. So we can take this imagination as our question to explore this area. Imagine there's an item, digital item, drop on the ground, and it's picked up by another person. On current metaverse protocol, how can we do it? So probably I'm inside my own reality and my own mixed reality, other people inside their mixed reality. If I drop an item on the ground, which means I need to define this digital object ontology without my mixed reality exist, and other people can see that, and then they pick this up. So without a centralized server or something. So how could that possible on current protocol? So we're looking yeah, so from Reddit, people are really calling for metaverse standard. And there's a metaverse standard forum founded 2 years ago. And I'm looking at this forum, and I found it's very difficult to find consensus for people that can solve the simple problem I proposed before, the dropping item problem. So there's a lot of like a 3D defined 3D object protocol, like X3D, like a USD, like a different kind of file standard. But very few talking about the permission and or about access control of the object. So so that's why it's very hard to define an object that not belongs to me, but belongs to others. So of course, like there's a NFT to trying to solve this problem, but for NFT, the metadata of NFT, if we look carefully inside that, we will find the NFT is not. It's only defined the ID of the digital file, but the definition of digital file is defined by a metadata. And this metadata is just a JSON file, but this JSON file is like a standard. It's a very chaotic. So like there's an OpenSea OpenSea standard. There's a engine standard. There's a lot of like an NFT metadata standard. So none of them agree each other. So in this field, it's very chaotic. So there's very hard for an interoperability to exchange the 3D digital object. So there's a new proposal from autonomous world. This field, there's a standards called MUD. It's kind of an ECS, like a system running on Ethereum network. But for this one, it's kind of we can define objects with some a component and a system attached to that object. This is it's a way to solve the problem, but still the system itself, I mean the concept itself is still centralized. It's very hard. You still need to define a centralized table to define that object. So this is also a limitation. So next we will look into how to define self-solvent digital object and how to define its access control. So according to Equi, digital object is not just defined by their data, but it's defined by their metadata, which providing context structure, just like a PDF file. The PDF file standard itself, it can shape that digital object. Without this metadata, it's very hard to how to say this is the digital object. So the metadata is the protocol. So then my question is, how can a digital rock simply permissionlessly exist? So how can we define a rock simply exist? I mean, digital rock. Like in the real world, the rock exists just based on this computation power of this universe. But online, on our digital world, how can we define it? Right now, all the 3D digital object belongs to some company, like meta, like some game. In a game, we have this kind of object, but how can we define it on its own? So here we comes to like a decentralized identity. So we will from the central control identity to sovereign identity. This like unfortunately we have this DID released by W3C W3C like 2 years ago, and we can have an opportunity now to define an object on its own. So it's basically it's kind of a URL that this URL like define the object which can be resolved by the resolver. So the base layer of this DID could be on the blockchain. So which means it's very hard to change this DID once being defined. So it does not rely on centralized server. But how can this block providing affordance for others peoples? There's a concept, it's called access control list, which is kind of a giant matrix defined on the left, it's defined all the user. On the row, it's all the user. On the column, it's all the file. And inside each cell, it's the access control. So this table still need to be exist in somewhere. In maybe a centralized concept. So how can we decentralize this access control list? So here we comes like a we want to break down this ACL to decentralize capabilities. So there's a concept is called object capabilities. So in this concept of object capabilities, we can define an object, what kind of capability it has, and also define the user, what kind of capability like the user has. And we can then to like interoperate between user and the object. This is like a very elegant way to decentralize this table into like a more kind of it's a ownerless way. So and also in this like a web camp, I heard this new concept, decentralized object capabilities. So here's an example. Like we can define two users. One is Alice using DID, and Bob also using DID. And then we can define this digital rock with a DID and also the capability of this digital rock, which probably is owning this kind of a capability using this kind of JSON file. So the capability itself could be like a defined on chain. So like so this whole object like its ontology and its access control can be fully on chain. So next, I would like to talk about how to protocolize the entangled future. I probably will skip this part because I give this part like previously, but I just skim it through because this part is a grand detour. When I'm doing this research, I look into some philosophical inquiry of protocol world and the reality. And the world is a future you can believe in, and what's reality? What reality is that which when you can stop believing it, it doesn't go away. So this is very interesting, like a kind of a detour for this project. But I really like this part. I probably skip this for this presentation. But if you are interested, you can looking at my slides after this talk. I will upload this to the to a Google Drive. The wording is a process of protocolizing, which you can harden into reality, which you can escape from. You can't escape from. and also I spend quite an amount of time to looking at how to protocolize a protocolization from the complex system perspective. And I think like protocol probably it's kind of a self-organization, and it's a kind of a synergy. It's very similar to a phase transition, but I probably skipped all this part. Okay, next is coming to the core of this research is when two systems collide, what's the protocol to merge in these two systems? So just like two black hole merge, what gonna happen? So we can observe some natural phenomena, how to merge two schools of fish. This is like a very interesting video that you can see. This is how two schools of fish merge very smoothly. And because all the individual in this school obey a rule, a very similar rule, which is Boyle rule, and that's a very famous algorithm for like in the graphics area, which individual like trying to avoid to colliding into their neighbor, and also they have a tendency to steering towards to the average of their nearby flockmate, and also trying to be coherent with them. So only obey this three rule, we can to merge this such complex system together. So we really need some protocol to interoperate between the world. So instead of looking at the how to merge the world from the whole system level, we probably need to looking at how to merge from the molecule level, just like a chemical. So when we merge two things, we need to like break down to one lower level to study the protocol how to merge, just like the school of fish. And here's our proposal, what I call it's decentralized digital chemistry. It's kind of a like decentralized object capability-based chemistry of digital object. That's sorry for my bad naming, but I think this kind of metaphor is very interesting. So if we can, I propose this system. If we can define a digital object, like in the center is the digital object, its appearance is defined by X3D. It has its own DID, so it can self-owned. And then there's a lot of object capability around this object. Each defined how can we use this object? What's its appearance? Can we move it, or can we edit it, or can we own it? Can someone visit? Can someone see it? So for each user, also have a very similar structure that is defined by DID, and also have all object capability around it. And for each reality that a user is using or is immersive in, also have this kind of object capability around it. It's all defined by those JSON file, which just define how we use this, how these things incorporate. So you can see this kind of a proposal is very, very similar to chemical reaction. So you can see from each element, it has some this kind of how to say that this kind of a reaction like a potential reaction like an interaction point. So each molecule can interact with other molecule with this like OCAP as their as their reaction point. So this is a kind of metaphor. So each object is a molecule, and the reality is the chemical environment, and each object capability is kind of chemical reactions. So once we can define those, so when we merge two mixed reality systems, it could become very clear what's the consequence after the merge. So that's the proposal. So this is the so from now we already defined how two systems merge, and then we also from last time the conversation we also talk about there's a potential problem is how can we discover there's an opportunity here, there's an object here, can we discover there's a person we want to merge with. So here we're looking at focus on the moment right before the merging mixed reality. So how can I know that you will merge with me? So when you wear a mixed reality goggle and walking on the public street, how do you know another person is interesting to merge with you? So under this question, there's a big problem. It's a tragedy of coordination, which is described by this very awesome talk. I suggest you to watch. It's 2PC for lovers, which is like when you want to tell your friend you love him or love her, and you're afraid of losing the friendship. So what's the protocol here can help you to resolve this tragedy of coordination. This is very similar to this problem. So in the famous game, it's called Journey from Genoa Chen. So if you see there's a friend on the desert, you probably can call in to see if you two can be a friend. So our proposal is using multi-party computation for detecting the merging intention. So multi-party computation is like it's a branch of cryptography that can decide the collective result without each other know each other's input. So each input keep private, but the collective result will be accurate based on everyone's input. So there's a subset of this multi-party computation, which is a private set intersection, which is Alice probably have a group of like an item, and Bob also have another group of item. This private set intersection can decide if there's an intersection between them. So we can use this technology to improve our protocol proposed before. We can update our protocol with this MPC, so the people can know each other, can merge, have the intention to merge on the street. Here's I draw some like a cartoon to illustrate this situation. When you walk on the street, you can your system will constantly communicating with your surrounding people's AR or MR system, and if there's a people who have the similar interest with you, which is defined by object capability, and on their head, we will see a light up kind of maybe icon or some a hint that showing that you two have the similar interest. So now you know this guy you can merge with, and you can say hi to them, and then you can start to merge. Probably someone is from a forest, someone is liking the ocean, but they can still merge their reality. They can see each other's reality, and while they can exchange the gift, like from their world to another. After like the merge, they each have their each others like a gift, and you also can see this item on their head. Like as a witness, you gain the permission to their reality. So this is like my proposal before the merging protocol. So my next step is trying to making a real artifact that can help the audience to experience this kind of future. So this artifact is called quantum masquerade, which I'm still brainstorming with it. The core idea is that we will probably present this in the DEF CON, and the DEF CON reserve a large area for artists to do some experiment there. So I probably will propose this kind of party idea. So each probably have a 5 to 10 people each round. So for each people, they will wear AR goggle, and the AR goggle can be a masquerade shape. Like they can decorate themselves, and then during the party, so each one trying to handshake with each other. So in the beginning, everyone have their own set of parameter on their head, but they don't know themselves. And when they're wearing the headset, they can see some people who have the common interest, common variable on their head has some hint. So you can walk towards that people to handshake with them. Once you handshake, your two reality merge, and then you can trying to steal or exchange some gift from their world to your world. And then your own item list will change a little bit. And then you can start continue this kind of handshaking ritual with all the people around this party. And after like a while, so each other will guess what kind of initial item they have in the beginning. Just like in the reality, how you know yourself by interacting with others. This is very kind of a quantum measurement, for each time you handshake with each other, and then you know yourself better. So this kind of artwork, we think this artwork will really emphasize all the research in our in this SOP research, that also people can experiencing it. So yeah, so we hope we can host a workshop in the DEF CON and to receive other people's feedback. And finally, we probably will so the result probably like this. But this is another project, but very similar. We're using software-defined protocol, to see how the user's behavior, collective behavior emerge. So this project is called exploring the intercorporeal entanglement in collocated mixed reality. And finally, we will assemble all our research into a HCI research, and for the future MR system design, and also for protocol research for metaverse intercorporeality design. So I'm still drafting this like a Kai paper, and I probably will launch and release the link in the group chat and to receive your guys' comment. So, and people really enjoy this kind of game in the webcam. hopefully we can meet each other in Lana City and play the game. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That was really interesting. This is sure bleeding edge stuff. So yeah, if people have questions, just like the last few salons, feel free to raise your hand with the little heart emoji at the bottom of the screen. React with that. Put your hand up and we can call on you and ask questions. I had a quick one, which was like, I was wondering what the modern day equivalent of this is. Like today, what's the closest analogy for what you're imagining in the future with today's technology?
Today's you mean mixed reality or
Like merging two people's realities today, like if that's sharing your algorithm with somebody or just sharing access to a profile.
Actually, this in today's like maybe it's just like a Notion. So I share a document with someone, I can add them in the list to access to it, or to de-access to it. But the problem is it's centralized. So this whole like access control system is very centralized. How can we define a decentralized documentation system and decentralized DID system that we cannot rely on a server? Just like two people in the physical world, we didn't rely on any centralized like a computation power from this universe. Like we two people can still communicate to have this kind of physical item to share.
Thanks. Dorian, go ahead.
Wow, there's a lot of conversation in the chat.
Yeah, so I'm wondering like just practical things. I mean, I've personally been interested in doing stuff like access control with graphs, so like non-hierarchical access control. Like how would you even go about something like that? But even just practical stuff like say, you drop an item like like you drop an item in your AR or VR or whatever world, and you drop something in DXF or something like that, and then whoever picks it up like would need something to translate the DXF into whatever mesh format that they could read. And just like I'm imagining just like complications upon complications. So like would you farm out to like some kind of Lambda process or something like that that's just out there that you could translate the format into? Like where do the textures live? Like that kind of stuff is just like you're just getting me thinking about all of the engineering problems that are entailed by this very sort of simple, straightforward proposition.
Yes, like if we define one simple game, I mean just one game, if you are the owner of the world, it's probably much easier. But in the future of mixed reality, I think the world will be very diverse. So everyone develop their own like an app, but there's no standard how to define those things. That really caused the big trouble in engineering. That's why I try to propose some speculative solution here.
There's some great comments in the chat. I'm gonna call on a couple people who might have something to say. Sam's got a lot of good comments in the chat. Venkat, you brought up Robert Stalnaker. I haven't heard of him before. Wonder if anybody has. Yeah, Sam or Venkat, if either of you want to speak to
I'll
those.
just say a quick thing for those who are interested in pursuing the philosophy bunny trail. So the philosophy field that's most relevant to this is probably modal logic and possible worlds. So the two philosophers most famous for this is one is called David Lewis and the other is Robert Stalnaker. So Lewis is more about like literal worlds and how you represent and talk about them. Stalnaker is more about two people are talking in like a regular conversation. What game is going on where they kind of start to merge each other's understandings of reality. So I think it would be good background to study to solve these problems, and might have like ideas for the kinds of like low-level mechanical tactical things that Dorian is talking about, which could be like super tricky, I think.
Semantics.
Any other questions? Sam might, if not, Amber, Yisi, if you have any other comments you want to share, you go ahead. Sam also mentioned that this would be a cool thing to have an unconference session on. And the unconference is on the Asia leg kicks off on Thursday night right after capstone. So at 1 o'clock UTC on Friday morning. And yeah, he said trying to build a shared reality multiplayer world, we are having to learn the protocols of shared reality, permission to dance together, ways of signaling interest, sociologies of consent, how to recreate shared laws, etc. That would be a cool session if you guys wanted to host that.
Cool. I can add a comment. Sorry, like just trying to formulate what to say because there's so many different ideas seeded by this. Really enjoyed the talk. Thanks. This is reminding me a bit of like a lot of Asian cultures, especially, are described as trying to save face or like optics, right? So the perception of things, like in Thai culture, for example, there's a lot of like you always wear the smile, and then like, but what the dynamics underneath it are often like quite difficult to gauge, and like this is common in many cultures beyond Asia as well. It seems there's a kind of like almost in these cultures, you're conservative about preserving the shared reality, and there's almost like certain protocols about how you update it, right? So I think it's almost like a physics that we can derive from like the way cultures treat like how you make things public, right? So there's protocols around like how you like declare that a particular couple are now a couple, whether it's like engaged or married or things like that. And I think maybe there's some interesting lessons in kind of like how these cultures evolve, and maybe lessons for the kinds of protocols around like consensus and mixed realities that can be created. I get the sense that like the more we move towards decentralized, autonomous kinds of like models where like reality is co-constructed by different things instead of like some game engine laws of physics that are set down from the top, then like the realm of like conventions, cultures, and sort of like etiquette for those things actually becomes really instructive. So sorry, not really a question, but there's so many things buzzing around. But if you guys want to like respond to that, like I would love to hear more. Thanks.
Thank you for bringing up this very interesting thing. Like you mentioned about the Asian culture have a lot of like synergy with this topic. I think yes, very interesting, and I would like to maybe chat more with you like in person to talk about this situation. Probably we can do it in the unconference.
Awesome.
Okay, thanks everybody for the questions. Yeah, I don't think there are any more. So any final remarks, Amber and Yisi? Go ahead.
Yisi, do you have?
Not really, I guess.
Oh, we have one more, a late arrival on the question queue.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Are you working with any corporate partners or developers for either developing underlying tech or actual product or content development?
No, actually, we just like do research on our own, and the final result will be a paper and also an artifact, which is a kind of artwork, what I mentioned. So using this artwork to provoking this kind of conversation.
Cool. Well, thanks again, guys. This was a really interesting project, and I think seeing standards emerge in such a strange and you know cutting edge place is interesting to see. I think most people think about standards once stuff is built, and for you guys to think about standards before anything is like really there, it's really cool. I think that will yield benefits in the future. We have another salon tomorrow night. We have a few more sessions of the protocol symposium, but the last salon is tomorrow night at the same time on fire protocols. So how we do prescribed burns in California in the United States with Natalia and Jordy. Same time, same place. I'll drop a link in the chat here to RSVP, and I hope I see everybody there.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was really interesting.
See you guys tomorrow.